Aerodynamics was an American roller coaster manufacturing company known for making huge strides in the coaster industry as far as innovation goes. The company created the first coaster to use steel tubing track with Matterhorn bobsleds at Disneyland and would continue on in the future to make some of the first modern coasters to go upside down. They would constantly push the established boundaries, and one of the most prominent examples of this was with the suspended coaster model. In 1981, the Bat at Kings Island opened.
The shadows of falling darkness, wings of the night creature await their silent signal from the moon. Darting madly through a starless sky, the frenzied flight of the bat takes you by surprise and leaves you breathless, hanging in midair, captured alive by the bat. Fly the Bat at Kings Island. It's a non-stop fright.
The coaster was almost instantly critically acclaimed for being incredibly forceful and thrilling, but it didn't come without problems. Suspended coasters work by hanging from a car below the track that allows the car you ride in to swing on a lateral axis side to side. However, the original Bat was a full-size prototype of the concept, meaning that it wasn't perfect. It had many mechanical problems leading to frequent closures. The coaster also featured only unbanked turns that put way too much stress on the track and trains. All of these things began to cost a whole lot of money, and the Bat closed forever after just 3 years of operation in 1981. It would later be replaced by an Aero custom looper, Vortex. But Aero didn't stop after the Bat. They knew that they had a good idea, so they weren't about to give up after only one failure. A year later, Aero went at it again, this time with a new idea that they hoped would fix the problems of the maintenance nightmare that was the Bat. In 1984, 2 suspended coasters opened to the public. These were XLR8 at Six Flags Astro World and Big Bad Wolf at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. The main difference between these 2 coasters and the Bat was the fact that now the coasters had banked turns. This meant that the ride experience would be much more comfortable and they would be much more reliable. XLR8 was more on the family side, which is a theme that would continue into 1987 with Iron Dragon at Cedar Point. It would again be pretty reliable, but aside from Big Bad Wolf, it seemed like Aero was scared to go big again. It started to look like that might have changed in 1988 though, when Ninja opened at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Featuring a layout alongside a mountain, there was finally another thrilling swinging coaster experience. And then Vampire, that one coaster with the Vekoma trains at the UK park that everyone forgets exists. 1991 and 92 would bring 3 more suspended coasters: Hayabusa, Vortex, and arguably the best of the model that was ever built, Eagle Fortress, which is pretty much Ninja on steroids. 1993 brought Top Gun at Kings Island, which was basically the sequel to the original Bat. In fact, Top Gun was actually renamed to the Bat in 2013. But strangely, Top Gun would end the streak of suspended coasters. They started with the Bat and ended with the Bat. Why did they stop here though? They were doing so good, having figured out all the problems and seemingly being on a great streak. This answer can be found with X, the world's first 4th dimension roller coaster.
X is the wildest ride on the planet.
X was a disaster. A great ride, yes, but a disaster nonetheless. This one coaster would single-handedly put aerodynamics out of business, costing way more than expected due to numerous technical issues. In 2002, Aero was gone, and with it went the suspended coaster model. Nowadays, only 4 of these models are left in existence out of the 10 that were built. This begs the question, had Aero not gone bankrupt, what could have been of the Aerodynamics suspended coaster? Before the first park installation, Aero created a couple prototypes of the model at their facility, one mini and one full-size. The full-size version featured 2 different styles of track, one of which was the style used on major installations. This was the style meant for higher stress, which was necessary as the model went straight into a sharp turn after the drop. This was not like the drop and turn later used on Big Bad Wolf though, because this one, like the original Bat, was entirely unbanked. Unfortunately, Aero didn't realize the problem with this at the facility, leading to the problems seen later. That's about the only notable thing with the large prototype, but the small model has something very intriguing on it. It drops into an unbanked turn, but then it turns upward, whipping you into... What is this? An inversion? Yes, Arrow originally intended the suspended coaster model to feature an element that would take riders upside down. I don't mean like a turn that would swing to a high angle. I'm talking a full-on corkscrew. What's interesting is that this was actually transferred to the old bat. It was built with the same corkscrew, although a bit more spread out. Why didn't they go through with this? That answer is pretty easy. It's incredibly unrealistic. Or is it? The forces would be way too much for the human body to handle with the swinging trains. Right? Well, yes. Sort of. If the corkscrew was placed where it was in the model, there is no way that it could happen. Every rider would die from incredibly ridiculous forces. However, what if you placed a corkscrew, inline twist, or heartline roll elsewhere, where it was moving much slower, or just at a better speed for forces in general? There could have even been a vertical loop. This might have actually been possible, and if Arrow still existed, I could absolutely see it happening. But that's not all. We know Arrow's history. They wanted to break all the records. We can see this with Magnum XL200, Desperado, Steel Phantom, and the big one, all of which were over 200 feet tall. Then of course X, which, while an awful decision in the long run, was a huge game changer in the industry. So with that, couldn't you too see a 200 or near 200 foot tall suspended coaster? It might and probably would pull a bat and end up failing, but with Arrow, who knows? They did crazy things in the past, and you bet they wouldn't be afraid to do it again in the future. What else could be done though? Could Arrow have made the SNS Axis coaster before SNS did? The possibilities are endless, but unfortunately, we'll never really know. Thank you for watching this video. I'm considering making this a series, so if you guys have any other ideas for what I could do, leave those down in the comments. Please consider subscribing if you are new, and I will see you guys next time.